It's not there.
With this, I'm getting the launch Docker desktop.
Just beside that, go
Okay.
to downloads option is there.
Okay, go to download. Okay.
Is it okay?
Yeah, but okay, Docker desktop for Windows. Okay. So this general one.
Your screen is freezed actually. I'm not able to
Okay.
see the other things. Is it pop up?
No, no pop-up on the same window. Okay, let me share it again. Okay, this one I'm getting.
Yeah, so first option would be the right one, I think, x86-64. Yes.
Okay, I think it's the same exe is getting.
Downloaded. Okay.
Yeah.
So what challenges are you facing while installing?
No. Actually, it asking for the some Citrix. You have not done the Citrix login. Some message I'm getting.
Citrix.
Okay, let's continue with the class. If the issue is there, I'll share the screenshot
And
again.
while installing, there will be in the bottom there will be checkbox that you want to add it to some path, right?
Yeah.
Automatically, it will add to the path Docker. So from anywhere you can launch that.
Okay.
That option, last option, you have to checkbox.
Okay, let me try. I'll reinstall it again.
Okay, okay.
I did in the morning, but it's giving me that you are not logging with the Citrix something, a message I'm getting.
Okay. I don't think Citrix is required here. Few prerequisites may be there, but Citrix, I don't think. Because in Windows it supports. And okay, if you face any challenge, let me know. We'll work
Yeah.
on that.
Okay, fine. Yeah, let's continue with the class.
Okay. So hi everyone. Good afternoon. So are we expecting someone else to join or we're good to go?
Hello, Chandan. Good afternoon.
Hi Junaid. Good afternoon.
I think we can start, Chandan.
Okay, okay. Okay, so hi everyone. So first of all, what I would like to do is it's this whatever session we are having, right? It should be interactive and it should be engage everyone. So my idea is that we will discuss with ourselves. But if there is any confusion, you can ask me question and I'll try to answer that. So in this team meeting, we have Junaid and Vaishali, Roshan. Only three people here, right?
Yeah, Junaid.
Vaishali and Roshan. And myself, my name is Chandan. Okay. So I hope you guys are able to see my screen, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I will address you whenever I feel like I need your attention. So I'll address your names. Okay, fine. So first of all, we have already started 2 days of session, but it was like quite fast. So I realized that we should go a little slow, and we should be understanding. We should understand everything from basic, why we are here, why we are joining this class, and what fruit we are expecting from this investment of our time and money, right? So yeah, so we are here to learn DevOps, right? Because we all have heard DevOps everywhere. People were talking from last 5 years. Many people mentioned like DevOps is a big thing, right? So I don't know exactly what your current role is. You're doing in your current role. So Junaid, in the first day, I think in the demo class, he told he is in production support, right?
Yes, Chandan.
So Junaid, what is exactly you are doing in your role, day-to-day activities?
So, Chandan, as it is an application support role, so we are maintaining as like the production environment should be up and running like 24/7, and for that we are using different tools and all like Databricks, Airflow, and the Kubernetes where we monitor all the pods and the microservices. And also with respect to release part, so we run this Azure DevOps pipelines so that any alerting related changes that are gone through. So majorly this part, Chandan. So I wanted to upgrade myself like for a proper SRE role, coming
Yeah.
with the DevOps tools and all in depth basically.
Okay. Okay. And what about you, Vaisali? What is your role and responsibility?
Yeah, Chandan. Okay, till means few months back, I was the AML Mantis developer. Okay, but recently, as this project has been ramped down, so I'm working as a means you can say the DevOps engineer. I have to work, but I don't know anything about that. So
Okay.
I'm trying to learn the things like recently that means,
So
there
do
are
you
many things in our project.
okay? So do you have any background of programming languages or something?
Yeah, I have the means shell scripting knowledge and like PLSQL. That all knowledge I have.
Okay. And Java or Python or any kind of language you also use?
Python I don't know, but yeah, basic Java I know.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Okay. So why I am asking this because I wanted to understand your like uh, career background so that transitioning would be smoother for you if you will be able to understand why we are going to DevOps and why it is in much demand nowadays. And as you know, DevOps is like potato nowadays. So everyone wants a DevOps engineer in the team, whether it is a data engineering team, machine learning team, AI team. Everybody wants a DevOps engineer, and they are grooming their DevOps engineers to make them useful for them their team. Like suppose machine learning engineers are there, so they are asking a DevOps guy to perform a role of MLOps. So there is a term called MLOps. It sounds similar like DevOps, right? So I'll tell you the background why DevOps was required and why MLOps is required. So DevOps, when we write to we segregate this thing, so DevOps become a method is it's a methodology actually. So people were facing challenges with developer and operations team. So if we talk about DevOps, developer and operation. Developer we all know, like those who are writing programs and creating applications, they are developers, right? So developers can be a Java developer, Python developer, Node.js, like front end, back end. Different type of developers are there, right? So what was the challenge when developers are smart enough they're creating the application, they should be able to deploy the application also, right? But they were facing challenges. because they were writing the code in their laptop and they were creating the environment for their application to run. But when they were deploying it into production or servers, so they were facing challenge and this application was not running properly. And there was a one separate team who was taking care of server, storage, network, database, and there are many things involved in operations as well. So, like we have developers, front end developers, back end developers, and those who do both, they are called full stack developers. So, when there was a term used in the industry, the problem which every developer was facing was that it runs on my machine problem. That means they were able to run it in their laptop, but they were not able to run it in the real environment, production environment. I mean, facing challenges in deploying and all. So they needed the help of engineers to connect the bridge, the gap between the developers and operations. So then companies decided that why cannot we merge two teams? I like some guys who can do both kind of job, those who know development as well and those who know operations part as well. So then this DevOps terminology came up in the market that they wanted someone who knows both side. So that's why the demand was very high, because those people who knows both the skills, development side and the operation side, so they were, by default they were in demand. So then what happened, this was application thing, like application was getting developed and it was getting deployed. But since last 4 5 years, everybody is talking about AI ML, right? So if you search on LinkedIn or wherever, there are many jobs related to AI ML. And for a machine learning models deployment, you need MLOps engineer, machine learning, or we use, right, ML models. So there are many models, LLM models, and there are many open source models also. So for that, teams are asking DevOps engineers to come and play the role of bridge between and machine learning engineer. Machine learning engineers just like developers here in DevOps case, and MLOps engineer will help them to deploy their machine learning models into the environment so that they can use their models, because machine learning models also should be deployed in some kind of infrastructure, right? So when we talk about operation is nothing but infrastructure, right? And if you see, I'll show you one. Yeah. So
So Chandan,
yeah.
and so how is the scope for SRE?
So SRE is also a part of DevOps only. SRE, platform engineer,
Mhm,
everything comes under this thing, because
mhm,
SRE, if you see, SRE was taking care of these things, right? Operations and all. Like earlier, there was a
mhm,
concept called data center, on-prem data centers. Before cloud came into the picture, there
mhm,
used to be data centers where physical servers were there, installed storage devices were there, installed network switches, SAN switches, all the physical equipments were there. So when cloud came in the picture, then things change. Now the cloud providers are managing the data centers, and you don't have to own your data center or manage data centers. So 15 years back when I started my career, so I was working in a data center. So I know the evolution, like how it is happening from data center to cloud to DevOps, how the industry is evolving, the IT is evolving. There was a time when people used to say those who work as an operation engineer, those who work as a network engineer, they were like very much in demand, and they were like demanding salaries which were like very high at that time. So database engineers, but things evolved slowly, and then now we are in an era where AI and ML is dominating everything, right? So when I say this data center thing, so those who used to take care of this data center or infrastructure part, they were operation engineers. Infrastructure. So when we use this term infrastructure, servers, right? So you will be thinking, what is this server thing? But in a layman language, if I say your laptop can be a server, so I'll draw something. Server can be, just a minute. Okay, just a minute. Mm, mm, mm. Okay, so if I say laptop, so this laptop can also be a server. Anyways, this drawing has got some problem. So laptop, if you install Docker in your laptop, so it becomes Docker server, right? Like in last session we did install Docker in our laptop, and likewise server may have multiple applications installed, right? And if you say server, suppose server can be of different types also, right? Like like Linux, Windows, Mac OS also people are using. So this is kind of operating, this is operating system, right, which on which we install our applications. So if you want to run some Python application, that may run on some Linux server. Your application server, database server can be of anything. So earlier people used to, long back, people used to use Windows for all the applications, but then they realized Linux does the better performance. So people started using other Linux machines. So there are many Linux flavors also, like Ubuntu, Red Hat, Debian, CentOS. Have you ever installed any kind of Linux operating system in your laptop?
Yes, I think I used this Ubuntu.
Ubuntu, okay. So when yeah, so I was telling you about the job opportunities and why we are learning here DevOps, right? So there are learning paths for all these things. So first of all, we have a goal. and our goal is to learn DevOps. And in order to learn DevOps, we should have a learning path. Like what all we need to learn to become a DevOps engineer or a SRE or a platform engineer. So many of my friends who has transitioned from different roles to DevOps role. So they started their learning strategies with a certain learning path, and they followed, and they were able to change into different roles. Like some are working as a SRE, some are working as a platform engineer. So if you see, still the market is very good for DevOps engineer because the demand is still high. Because if you know DevOps things, so obviously you will be useful for many other teams. So like in my current organization, we have data engineering team, data science team, application team. Everybody needs a DevOps engineer. At least one person should be there in the team. So some places you will find teams are there, and some places you will work as an individual contributor. So I believe you are working as in a team, right, Junaid?
Yes, Chandan.
So you have a big team or a small team?
It's a small team, specifically which is allocated for cloud. So we have only four who are working with the cloud team, and rest there are different teams as well who are working on the legacy system, like mostly supporting this autosys jobs and all.
Okay, okay. So when you mention these things, right, Databricks, Airflow, this
And it is also including a Power BI, where we verify the reports and all.
okay. So Power BI is a tool used for data analytics.
Yes.
At there was a time, like, still in the market, there are a couple of roles which are always in demand. One is data engineer, and then data analyst. I mean, it's all related to data, and one person can move from one role to another, not a big deal. So similarly, we have DevOps, which can move to MLOps, because ultimately what we are doing here, since the data is growing very fast, right? So now the term is data is oil. So data can be used for many purposes. Data can be used to improve your business strategies. All the companies looking for data, and not just raw data. They want a useful data, which is processed data. Processed. And when we say processed data, means data can be uh, it can be a raw data, right? Raw data means every day our devices are generating data, but that data cannot not it's not necessary that data will be useful for the company. So we are all dealing with data day to day, and for data to be useful, we need team to be team to process the data and make it useful. So we are going in the we have to understand everything in a whole, because we have to have a bird's eye view, because industry is evolving day by day. So if you have bird's eye view, like you can see from top side, then you will understand why we have to learn, what we have to learn, and what is the learning path, how we should reach to that level. So yeah, I'll show you one thing. Yeah, let me paste it. So this is nowadays trend. What are these roles, right? So if you see your SRE role is number 4. If you can see, Junaid, you mentioned SRE role. But if you go down and see at the 8th position, DevOps architect, then you have data engineer, cyber security architect, platform engineer. So if you see MLOps engineer is on the second number, right?
Hmm.
So what is happening here in the industry? If you see these 4 roles, MLOps, site reliability, platform, and DevOps, all 4 you can consider one. In fact, cloud solution architect also, because when you are working as a DevOps engineer, so you have to manage your cloud infrastructure as well. So this role, second, third, fourth, fifth, and eighth, all this is related to DevOps. You can One person can become all these things. And the 10th number also, if you see enterprise cloud architect. Why I'm showing you this? Because when we say we are DevOps engineer, or when you say you I am a site reliability engineer, or somebody says platform engineer, like one of my friend, he is working in Walmart, and he says I am platform engineer. Even when I was giving interviews earlier, like in 2024, so I used to get a call for platform engineer's role, because it's kind of all related roles, whether you are a, and last year I got a call for MLOps engineer role, though I said I am not expert in those things, but they said no worries, you are already working as a DevOps engineer, so we will give you some training and you will become a MLOps engineer after that. Recently, two of my friend has joined Lloyd Bank, so they are working as a MLOps engineer, because they are doing LLM fine tunings, they are using Vertex AI, and then they are doing the same work what they used to work as a DevOps engineer, but little enhanced. Like as a DevOps engineer, they were working on Kubernetes, they were working on Docker, and same things are required in MLOps engineer's role as well. You just have to learn basics of MLOps, and then same pipeline would be there. You have to create a pipeline where your machine learning models will be uh, going through the phases like continuous integration, continuous deployment, and then monitoring, continuous testing, continuous training. One or more stages will be increased in MLOps engineer's case. So when I show you this picture, what do you understand by this picture? I got it from ChatGPT, and I asked like, what are the top 10 IT skills in the India which is in much demand? So Vaisali, are you following us? I mean, following me.
Yeah, yeah, Chandan.
So when we say these things, SRE हो गया, MLOps हो गया, DevOps हो गया, even if you see data engineers जो हैं, उनके पास कुछ अलग skills होती है, क्योंकि उनको पता है कि data को process कैसे, how to process the data. Though, so when Junaid said कि I know these things, these tools, right? Airflow, Databricks. These data engineers are using these tools: Airflow, Apache Airflow, and then Databricks. Apache
Yes.
Airflow is scheduling tools, and all the clouds are also providing the same tool, Airflow. So these are tools, but what we are trying to learn is methodology, which is DevOps. DevOps is a methodology. We have a method to use all these tools, and tools will come and go. But if you know the concept behind everything, right? And what a DevOps engineer does, or what a SRE does, so things will be easier to understand and learn. So yeah, so let's talk about this learning path. So as a DevOps engineer or SRE, or what I will do, I'll mention everything here. DevOps plus SRE plus platform engineer plus cloud engineer. So when you become senior in this role, so you'll become cloud architect, DevOps architect, kind of roles you will get. So these has primarily all these four roles, and let me add that MLOps as well then. So basically the learning path should be similar, and it is almost similar, not much confusion. So first thing first is you should be knowing a operating system knowledge. Why you need an operating system? And when I say operating system, it is Linux. Linux is a must. Whether you are a SRE, platform engineer, cloud engineer, wherever you are go, operating system is a must thing. If you don't know operating system, you will face lots of challenges in the industry, because all the applications are getting installed on Linux, and databases, everything is installed on some kind of server. Then last time we discussed Git, right? Git is a must because it's a data versioning tool, right? Because of versioning tool, we need this tool. Without this, it is difficult to work within a team or in an environment where we have to use CI/CD. And third point is you should have understanding of entire CI/CD flow, CI/CD process. It can be Jenkins. Jenkins is a tool to use for this. Or Jenkins is nowadays getting uh, many companies are moving from Jenkins to other tools which are easy to manage, which is one tool is GitHub Actions. Then we have all this uh, uh, remote repository providers. They are giving CI/CD tools as well, Bitbucket, and then we have GitLab. GitLab is one of the provider, so they call GitLab Runner. Okay, so if I ask you why we need Linux first of all, Junaid, you have worked on Linux, right? You said Ubuntu you have used.
Yes.
Vaisali, have you used Linux for your day-to-day activities?
Yes, yes, Chandran. Yes, Chandran.
So you have a basic knowledge, or you are like you can do admin kind of work as well in Linux.
No, just basic knowledge and some shells.
Hmm. So best way to understand any operating system is your compare your Linux with your Windows. Automatically you will understand, because see, we have Windows since long time. We are all using Windows operating system, so we are familiar with Windows, and we have like it's easy to click wherever we want, and we can install the software by clicking one by one, right? Like we have to install Docker, we click and we get any software installed. So similarly, Linux is also a operating system, so this should have also the same features. Only thing is you have to run some commands, and when you run commands it makes life easier, not difficult. When you see black screen, you find it difficult. Okay, it's a black screen and we have to remember lots of commands, but that those commands makes life easy compared to this Windows. So that's why people company prefer to use Linux. And Yeah, so Linux, we understand why we need Linux, right? And we understood in the first session, I believe, we understood why we use Git also. So what's your understanding, Junaid? Why we need Git? How can we use in our jobs?
Basically, to deploy any codes or to make any changes as we get it with respect to some YAML changes, and also we can do it with this local path, and then we can push it. So we can verify that. I think it's more onto uh, changing in the codes and all. With
Yes, so basically we need Git because Git is helping us to manage our different versions of data. Like we can have our data on remote location, and it can be shared between the team. All the team members will have the access to the same data, and on top of that, CI/CD pipeline helps us. I mean, Git helps us in running the CI/CD pipeline, and we have a term called GitOps, which, I mean, the tool itself will run from Git. No need to push or anything. Automatically, when you commit your code into Git, automatically that tool will detect, and then it will run the pipeline, and it will deploy the things you want.
okay,
There is one example of GitOps is Argo CD. Argo CD. It's also a kind of deployment tool. So Jenkins, GitHub Actions, these things can do everything like CI, CD both. But Argo CD is specifically designed for CD part. We'll come to CI, CD process later on. So let's imagine you have joined a company as a DevOps engineer, right? So what are the things they can expect you to do? Already you know that DevOps team you are interacting day-to-day basis, right? DevOps teams. So what are the expectations from DevOps guys? I remember last time when first time you joined in demo session. So you told that DevOps guys are writing Terraform codes, right?
yeah, Chandan, yes.
Terraform code, and then they were doing uh, what else they do? They do the monitoring configurations, right? Prometheus and Grafana.
Yes, yes. And also they configure alerting with respect to if the pods are getting restarted, so that we can
Yes.
have, so all those changes they are doing usually. And
Okay.
also if we also they write this YAML commands, we can say, like wise if we want to upgrade any pod or we want to make any changes as such, so they write that YAML command and we run it. But yeah, I'm a little bit aware like what's basically it's doing that changes in that command.
Okay. Okay. So I'll give you a little detail of what is Terraform as code. So
Sure.
Terraform code is infrastructure as code. So when we talk about infrastructure, right? When I started in the beginning, we segregated DevOps into two parts, right? Developers and operation engineers. So developers are writing codes. They want it to be deployed somewhere, right? So then the operation team comes in the picture. They have to deploy their application. Yeah. So Terraform code. But imagine you are a DevOps engineer and you are managing some kind of cloud. Maybe it's a AWS or maybe Azure or maybe Google Cloud. We call it GCP, Google Cloud Platform. So you are a DevOps guy. You have to take care of this cloud thing and where the application will be deployed, everything. And you have to take the help of developers. They will give you the application code and all. And now it's your responsibility to design the whole infra step by step so that you will reach your end goal. Your end goal is to deploy your application in the infra, right? And then you have to ensure that your infra is under monitoring also. Like if something goes wrong, it's your responsibility to take care and keep it running up and alive. Like their SLAs are defined, right? That you have to maintain this much SLA. Then you have some term called SLO. These are SRE terms, SLA, SLO design, these things. Because when a customer wants their infrastructure to be up and running, so their expectation is that they will give you uptime of 99.999 something. This much percent the application should be up. If it is going downtime, then you have to pay the penalty. The company who is taking care of this thing. So penalty comes in the picture if somebody is not able to maintain the uptime. So that's why SRE's role is very important. Before something goes down, they should be on their toes and they should bring up the things. So as I said, servers, right? Servers is where your application is running. When I say application, it's a holistic word. There can be lots of things inside this application term. Simple, what we are using like VS Code, it's also an application, right? Have you heard of this word Jupyter Notebook?
No, Chandan. Jupyter
So,
not.
so Jupyter Notebook is similar thing like VS Code, which is specifically designed for Python programming. And mostly data engineers and data science people are using Jupyter Notebook for writing their models and programmings for Jupyter Notebook. So this is one kind of application. So many teams want their Jupyter Notebook to be running on a Docker image, and then they use the Jupyter Notebook by running the Docker images. So I'm giving this example because this is a simple, small example, but there are bigger things also. Like some companies are running their, uh, like if you imagine Myntra, right? Myntra is an e-commerce company. So they have their business running on apps and mobile apps and computer, right? What if your application stops working? Myntra is not working and you're not able to place your orders. Then it's a business loss for Myntra, right? Somebody is working for some kind of banks. Like one of my friend is working for Standard Chartered Bank. What if some applications are not working on a Standard Chartered Bank and then the bank will suffer the financial loss, right? So there are many businesses. So according to business, workloads would be there and their infra would be different. So if suppose you are working for a retail company, so their workload may be different. and if you're working for a bank, it may be a different environment. And also, when you talk about DevOps, for each company, the design, infrastructure, everything will be different. Maybe some banks are more secure than a retail business, and some pharmaceutical businesses are there. So there are different businesses. Based on the business, your SLA would be decided, like how much uptime you can afford. So banks, they can't afford a downtime of smaller downtime also. Like if downtime, when I say, means your servers are down, applications are down. So in my career, once I have seen a scenario where SBI card, this SBI card, which uh, provides us credit cards and all. So that around 300 servers were down
Mhm.
for a small silly reason. 300 servers were down, and they suffered a huge business loss. So they suffered a business loss. So this is why this role is very important, DevOps. Now you will be understanding why a DevOps guy is plays such an important role, because you are going to help developers. And suppose you are already a developer, you can also become a DevOps engineer, right? And there's other person who is operation guy, who is taking care of infrastructure like cloud. They are creating services in cloud, and then he is not aware how to create applications, but he can, if he learns the programming language, so he can also become DevOps engineer, because he can help the developers, because he already know operations. So he can help developers to create to deploy their applications. So suppose, let's imagine you are a new joinee in a team, new joinee, and now there can be various tasks that you will be assigned to you by your manager or your team lead, right? So one of the task would be uh, write scripts, like shell script maybe. This can be helpful for automation, right? So why an DevOps engineer should be good in scripting? Because ultimately you are, what you are doing, saving time for the company. So you are doing automation works, automations. You have to automate everything where less manual effort is required. We don't want 25 members of team, because if one person does a small work, and for that if you require 10 days of time, so it's a human resource wastage kind of situation for companies, because they are paying for you and they want optimum utilization of your skills. So so why automation is the primary thing? Automation is primary for DevOps engineer. As much as you can automate. So suppose you are dealing with a cloud, AWS. Your manager asks you, okay, just create a server for me, compute instance. Okay, create 100 compute. When we say compute, it is EC2, you can say, for AWS, Elastic Container, right? So if they say create 100 servers, back in the past, for creating 100 servers were a tough task, because that time, like 15 years back, people used to, like, companies used to uh, use physical servers. Then they updated themselves to use for virtual machines, right? So let me make you understand this basic, these are basic things I know. Physical servers, but let me explain you so that the pictures will be clear. Physical servers, then virtual servers. So this is all evolving day by day. It has reached to this stage. So when I say physical servers, have you ever seen any server? Have you seen server rooms in your building?
पहले होता था ऑफिसेस में सर्वर
हम्म
रूम लॉट ऑफ वायर सर्वर्स आई थिंक स्टोरेज डिवाइसेस लैन एंड ऑल अभी तो नहीं
हाँ
दिखाई देता
हाँ, अभी सब लोग क्लाउड पे मूव कर रहे हैं, लेकिन हाँ, बिल्डिंग का इंफ्रा मैनेज करने के लिए कुछ सर्वर्स अभी भी बिल्डिंग्स में रहते हैं, छोटे छोटे डेटा सेंटर्स। और जो ये कंपनियां हैं, गूगल, अमेजोन और माइक्रोसॉफ्ट, ये बड़े बड़े डेटा सेंटर्स बना रहे हैं अलग अलग कंट्रीज में, क्योंकि डेटा सेंटर का ग्रोथ बहुत तेज़ी से हो रहा है अभी इंडिया में भी, क्योंकि अल्टीमेटली हमें कंप्यूट कैपेसिटी, रनिंग कैपेसिटी चाहिए। तो और स्पेसिफिकली जब ये एआई वगैरह आ गया है, तो अब हमें सीपीयू से काम नहीं चलता है। अब सीपीयू के बाद आया है टीपीयू, जीपीयू, ये सब चीज़ें चाहिए होती हैं। फास्ट प्रोसेसिंग, स्लो काम नहीं चाहिए, स्लो सर्विसेज नहीं चाहिए। तो अब सब कुछ धीरे धीरे फास्ट होता जा रहा है। तो एनवीडिया एक कंपनी है जो काफ़ी पॉपुलर हो रही है। एनवीडिया ये हर कंपनी को प्रोवाइड कर रही है इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, सो दैट कि ये जो जितने भी एलएलएम्स वगैरह क्रिएट कर रहे हैं, इनको रन करने के लिए, ट्रेन करने के लिए चाहिए कंप्यूट कैपेसिटी बहुत ज़्यादा, सीपीयू, मेमोरी, सब कुछ हाई लेवल का चाहिए। तो उस टाइप का ट्रेनिंग्स, क्योंकि जो एलएलएम की ट्रेनिंग होती है वो मल्टीपल डेज तक चलती रहती है, तो उसके लिए प्रोसेसिंग पावर चाहिए। तो ये जो फिजिकल सर्वर्स होते थे पहले, अभी भी होते हैं डेटा सेंटर्स में, तो अल्टीमेटली फिजिकल सर्वर्स ही चाहिए। और उसके ऑन टॉप ऑफ दैट फिजिकल सर्वर वो वर्चुअलाइज कर देते हैं उसको, और उसको एक वर्चुअल सर्वर बनाते हैं। मतलब एक सर्वर के ऊपर मल्टीपल ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम डाल सकते हैं। जैसे मेरा एक लैपटॉप है, ये एक एचपी का लैपटॉप है, मैं इसके ऊपर लिनक्स भी डाल दूँ, विंडोज़ भी डाल दूँ, सारे ओएस डाल दूँ और इस पे वर्चुअलाइज कर दूँ, तो ये मेरा लैपटॉप वर्चुअलाइज होकर मल्टीपल सर्वर्स को रन करने के लिए यूज़ होगा। और बहुत जगह टर्म यूज़ होता है सर्वर की जगह होस्ट। होस्ट जब बोलते हैं, होस्ट मतलब जिसके ऊपर हम कुछ कुछ चीज़ें रख सकते हैं, जैसे वर्चुअल मशीन्स। अगर एक होस्ट है, इस होस्ट के ऊपर मेरा लिनक्स है और विंडोज़ है, सब कुछ है इसके ऊपर। मैं ये इसलिए बता रहा हूँ क्योंकि अल्टीमेटली जब हम लोग क्यूबरनेटीज भी पढ़ेंगे, तो ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम का नॉलेज होना बहुत ज़रूरी है, क्योंकि क्यूबरनेटीज नथिंग बट उसके जो बेस है वो कर्नल ही है, सॉरी लिनक्स ही है, कर्नल, राइट। अगर लिनक्स और विंडोज़ ये सब अच्छे से आता है, तो उसको रिलेट कर पाएंगे हम लोग जब क्यूबरनेटीज, क्योंकि जब हम लोग उस दिन डॉकर इंस्टॉल करके डॉकर रन कर रहे थे, जैसे ये अभी मेरा डॉकर रन हो रहा है, तो मेरा ये सर्वर जो है, मेरा जो लैपटॉप है, ये डॉकर सर्वर बन चुका है। इस पे डॉकर के डेमन्स रन हो रहे हैं, इस पे मैं इमेजेस डाउनलोड कर रहा हूँ और इंस्टॉल कर रहा हूँ एज अ कंटेनर। अब देखो, जैसे एनजीनिक्स है, उबुंटू है, सेंटोस है, ये सारी चीज़ें मैं अपने लैपटॉप पे रन कर रहा हूँ। बट क्या जो मैं लैपटॉप पे रन कर रहा हूँ, कि या फिजिबल होगा एक बड़ी कंपनी के लिए? क्या एक हर हर एम्प्लॉय एक एक कंपनी में अपने अपने सिस्टम पे एप्लीकेशन इंस्टॉल करेगा? इज इट वर्थ? और ऐसे काम होता है क्या? नहीं। तो इसका आंसर है नहीं। तो जब कंपनी काम करती है, तो एक बड़े लार्ज स्केल पे काम करती है। उनके पास एक दो एप्लीकेशन नहीं हो सकते हैं, मल्टीपल एप्लीकेशन हो सकते हैं, थाउजेंड्स ऑफ एप्लीकेशन हो सकते हैं, राइट। और मैंने एक एग्जांपल दिया महिंद्रा का। महिंद्रा के जैसे बहुत सारे ई कॉमर्स साइट्स हैं, राइट। जैसे मेरा जो नेबर है वो वॉलमार्ट में काम करता है, और वॉलमार्ट जो है एक बहुत बड़ी कंपनी है यूएस की, जहाँ पर ग्रोसरी आइटम्स ये सब मिलता है। जैसे अपना बिग बाजार हो गया, डी मार्ट हो गया, वैसा ही वॉलमार्ट है। तो वॉलमार्ट को खुद का इंफ्रा मैनेज करने के लिए डेवऑप्स इंजीनियर लग रहे हैं, प्लेटफॉर्म इंजीनियर्स लग रहे हैं, डेवलपर्स लग रहे हैं। एक और मेरा नेबर है जो महिंद्रा में ही जॉब करता है, तो वो ई कॉमर्स कंपनी के लिए काम करता है, तो मे बी वो डेवलपर होगा, आई डोंट नो, बट हर कंपनी को डेवलपर्स और डेवऑप्स इंजीनियर और ऑपरेशन इंजीनियर लगते ही लगते हैं। बट अभी क्या हो गया है कि डेवऑप्स इंजीनियर ना ऑपरेशन वालों का काम कर दे रहे हैं, और इनफैक्ट डेवऑप्स वाले उसका भी काम कर दे रहे हैं, डेवलपर्स का भी काम कर दे रहे हैं, क्योंकि सारे कोड वगैरह तो डेवलपर्स का एक हद तक एसआरई और डेवऑप्स इंजीनियर ही लिख देते हैं। जैसे अभी जुनेद ने बोला कि यामल लिख रहे हैं, तो क्या है वो, ये एक मार्कअप लैंग्वेज है, राइट। और उसके बाद फिर प्लस ये भी लिखते हैं, पाइथन भी बहुत यूज़ करते हैं लोग, पाइथन में स्क्रिप्ट्स बनाते हैं। उसके बाद फिर हमारा टेराफॉर्म एक प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज है। अब टेराफॉर्म में भी दो तरह के लोग होते हैं, एक होते हैं जो टेराफॉर्म को यूज़ करना जानते हैं, और एक होता है जो टेराफॉर्म के कोड को लिखते हैं। इस सब पे भी हम डिटेल में जाएंगे। तो यामल बहुत पर्पस के लिए यूज़ होता है, जेसॉन बहुत पर्पस के लिए यूज़ होता है, एक तरह का डेटा फॉर्मेट कह सकते हैं यामल और जेसन को। फिर एक फॉर्मेट होता है एक्सएमएल। कॉलेज डेज में बाद में भी बहुत लोगों ने सुना होगा पीएचपी पे लोग काम करते थे, फ्रंट एंड डिज़ाइन करने के लिए, वेबसाइट डिज़ाइन करने के लिए। तो ये सब लैंग्वेज है। और सो हाँ, तो डेवऑप्स इंजीनियर क्या क्या कर सकता है? डेवऑप्स इंजीनियर पाइथन के कोड लिख सकता है, स्क्रिप्ट लिख के ऑटोमेट कर सकता है। कोई फाइल बनाई उसने, जैसे मुझे कुछ इंस्टॉलेशन करना है, तो मैं लिखूंगा स्क्रिप्ट डॉट एस एच बना दूं, या फिर मैं स्क्रिप्ट डॉट पी वाई बना दूं। मैं दोनों में से कोई भी यूज़ कर सकता हूँ, राइट। उसी तरह एक डेवलपर जो है वो अपना एप्लीकेशन जो है वो जावा में बना सकता है, या उसका मर्जी, उसको अगर गोलैंग आता है तो वो गोलैंग यूज़ कर लेगा। अगर उसको और कोई लैंग्वेज आता है, जैसे नोड जेएस आता है, तो वो नोड जेएस में एप्लीकेशन बना देगा। फिर उसको आ, और भी लैंग्वेजेस, जैसे पाइथन, पाइथन में भी बहुत सारे एप्लीकेशंस बन रहे हैं, बनाते हैं लोग। लेकिन इन सब लैंग्वेजेस में सबसे इजी पाइथन है, क्योंकि ये बहुत ह्यूमन फ्रेंडली, ह्यूमन रीडेबल लैंग्वेज है। ऐसे लगता है जैसे आपको हिंदी आती हो, आप हिंदी में कहानी लिख रहे हो, या इंग्लिश आती है, इंग्लिश में आप पोएम लिख रहे हो। तो वैसे ही आपको पाइथन है। पाइथन अब ऐसा हो गया है कि हर जगह यूज़ होता है। डेटा इंजीनियरिंग के लिए अगर आपको पाई स्पार्क यूज़ करना है तो उसके लिए लगेगा। अगर आप एयर फ्लो के लिए डैग लिख रहे हो तो डैग के लिए आपको लगता है पाइथन। तो जहाँ जाओ पाइथन की ज़रूरत है। तो अगर पाइथन अभी से स्टार्ट कर दिया सीखना तो बहुत हेल्पफुल होगा फ्यूचर के लिए भी, फ्यूचर रेडी होने के लिए ये बहुत ज़रूरी है पाइथन। पाइथन इज काइंड ऑफ मस्ट। मुझे तो लगता है लिनक्स से भी कहीं ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट पाइथन है। दो हमारा कोपायलट और ये जितने भी सारे एआई आ रहे हैं, ये लोग काफ़ी हद तक काम आसान कर दे रहे हैं। कोपायलट हो गया, क्लॉड हो गया, और भी जितने भी एलएलएम आ गए हैं, कोड असिस्ट है, ये सब। इनको बस एक स्किल डॉट एमडी फाइल बना के दो और ये सारा क्लॉड कोड लिख देते हैं। अच्छा, डेवलपर्स को, सॉरी, डेवऑप्स गाइस को एक और चीज़ लिखनी होती है, वो होता है एनसिबल प्लेबुक। ये भी बहुत लोग पूछते हैं इंटरव्यू में। तो फिर से हम एक बार समराइज कर देते हैं कि क्या क्या चाहिए एज अ डेवऑप्स इंजीनियर, और प्लस अभी एसआरई करके चलते हैं। सबसे पहले लिनक्स हमने बात किया, फिर हमें चाहिए क्लाउड का नॉलेज, क्योंकि बहुत सारी कंपनी है अभी भी जो ऑन प्रेम काम करती है, बट आपको हर जगह क्लाउड पूछेगा ही पूछेगा। आजकल लोग अमेजोन, AWS, AWS, Azure या GCP, ये तीनों में से कोई ना कोई क्लाउड अगर आता है तो आपको दूसरे क्लाउड में ट्रांजिशन करना बहुत इजी हो जाएगा। जैसे मैं गूगल क्लाउड में बेसिकली काम करता हूँ, पर मुझे AWS या Azure पे भी देखने में इतना प्रॉब्लम नहीं होता। अगर मुझे कल कल को AWS पे काम करना पड़ेगा तो मैं AWS पे भी काम कर सकता हूँ, Azure पे भी काम कर सकता हूँ, क्योंकि तीनों क्लाउड एक ही तरह के सर्विसेज प्रोवाइड करते हैं। अच्छा, क्लाउड थोड़ा सा बड़ा टॉपिक है, क्योंकि इसके अंदर बहुत कुछ आ जाता है, राइट। क्योंकि एक तो क्लाउड है, क्लाउड इतनी सारी सर्विसेज प्रोवाइड करता है कि आप जब नंबर ऑफ सर्विसेज देखोगे तो सोचोगे मैं क्या क्या करूं। क्लाउड में डेटा इंजीनियर वालों के लिए भी कुछ है, और डेटा साइंस वालों के लिए भी है, सब कुछ है सबके लिए। जैसे क्लाउड में एक होता है वर्टेक्स AI। ये पूरा एक प्लेटफॉर्म दे रहा है जहाँ पे आप अपने मशीन लर्निंग मॉडल बनाओ, उसको डिप्लॉय करो, उसको डेवलप करो, मशीन लर्निंग मॉडल को ट्रेन करो, डेटा का प्रोसेसिंग करो, उसका फीचर इंजीनियरिंग करो, सारा कुछ वर्टेक्स AI दे रहा है। AWS क्या दे रहा है? सेज मेकर दे रहा है। लेकिन ये उनके लिए है जो AI की फील्ड में जाना चाहते हैं। अभी जैसे कोई डेवऑप्स इंजीनियर है तो उसके लिए क्या क्या क्लाउड प्रोवाइड करता है? जैसे अभी थोड़ी देर पहले जुनैद ने बोला कि अज्योर डेवऑप्स यूज करता है वो, राइट। तो अज्योर एक प्लेटफॉर्म अलग से एक सर्विस प्रोवाइड कर रहा है, अज्योर डेवऑप्स। उसके खुद के पाइपलाइन है, मतलब उसको जेनकिंस नहीं चाहिए, उसको गिटहब नहीं चाहिए, वो अज्योर खुद का ही सर्विस दे रहा है कि उसको यूज करो और CI/CD पाइपलाइन बना लो। उसी तरह गूगल देता है क्लाउड बिल्ड और अदर चीज अदर अदर सर्विसेज भी हैं गूगल में जो डेवऑप्स इंजीनियर्स यूज करते हैं। कुछ लोग करते हैं, कुछ लोग नहीं करते हैं। कुछ लोग ओपन सोर्स यूज कर लेते हैं, कुछ जेनकिंस यूज कर लेते हैं। तो डिपेंड करता है कि आपको क्लाउड वाले सर्विसेज यूज करने हैं कि आप अपना खुद का सिस्टम बनाना चाहते हो। अच्छा, तीसरा पॉइंट हम आते हैं, क्लाउड हो गया। गिट तो सबसे फंडामेंटल है, तो गिट का तो बेसिक नॉलेज होना ही चाहिए, क्योंकि आपको कोड के साथ आपके प्ले करना है। आप अपने कोड को कहीं यहाँ से वहाँ मूव कर रहे हो, उसमें अपडेट एडिशन ये वो कर रहे हो, तो वो तो चाहिए ही चाहिए। फिर आपको जेनकिंस बताया मैंने, जेनकिंस इसलिए ज़रूरी है कि एक तो पाइपलाइन आना ही चाहिए, एक कोई ना कोई एक टूल आना चाहिए जिससे आप अपना पूरा पाइपलाइन इंटीग्रेट करोगे। अच्छा, ऐसा नहीं है कि अगर आप डेवऑप्स इंजीनियर तो सारा काम आप ही को करना है, इसमें और भी टीमें इन्वॉल्व होती हैं। जैसे आप बोलोगे कि अगर डेवलपर ने एप्लीकेशन बनाया और उसने एप्लीकेशन दिया मुझे डिप्लॉय करना है, क्या सिर्फ डेवलपर की ज़रूरत होती है? क्योंकि इन्वायरमेंट में फिर प्लस टेस्टर की भी तो ज़रूरत होती है। टेस्टिंग कौन करेगा इस टूल की? जो भी वो बनाएगा एप्लीकेशन, उसकी टेस्टिंग होगी, तो उसके लिए आपको टेस्टिंग वाली टीम के साथ भी मिल के ऐसा पाइपलाइन डिज़ाइन करना पड़ेगा कि आपके पाइपलाइन में डेवलपर का कोड पूरा टेस्ट वेस्ट होके आर्टिफैक्ट बनेगा, तब जाके आगे ये मूव होगा। तो एज अ डेवलपर कोई क्वेश्चन है?
नो नो चंदन।
ओके, तो अब मैं आता हूँ इस क्लाउड को थोड़ा सा और डिटेल में डिस्कस करते हैं, क्योंकि क्लाउड जो है इसमें आपको क्या क्या आना चाहिए। एक तो क्लाउड की सर्विसेज जानते हो आप। अब आप ऐसा तो है नहीं कि आप यूल गो एंड क्लिक ऑन क्लाउड कंसोल, उसके बाद वहां पे जाके एक EC2 इंस्टेंस बनाया, फिर दूसरा बनाया, उसके बाद 100 बना रहे हैं, 150 बना रहे हैं, और आप मैनुअली काम करते जा रहे हो। आप भी कर रहे हो, आपकी टीम वाले भी कर रहे हैं, सब कर रहे हैं मैनुअली, और सबसे ह्यूमन एरर्स होने लग जा रहे हैं। तो ये जो मैनुअल प्रोसेस है जहाँ पे ह्यूमंस को इन्वॉल्व किया जा रहा है, तो इससे क्या होता है, कॉस्ट की कंपनी का कॉस्ट भी बढ़ता है। जितने ज़्यादा एम्प्लॉय रखेंगे उतना ज़्यादा कॉस्ट बढ़ेगा। तो ह्यूमन इन्वॉल्वमेंट को कम करने के लिए ऑटोमेशन करेंगे। अब ऑटोमेशन कैसे करेंगे क्लाउड में? तो आपको टेराफॉर्म चाहिए। टेराफॉर्म क्या है? एक एग्नोस्टिक टूल है टेराफॉर्म, जिसमें आप स्क्रिप्ट लिखते हो, और जैसे ही आप EC2 इंस्टेंस क्रिएट करने का स्क्रिप्ट लिखते हो और रन करते हो, ऑटोमेटिकली आपका सर्वर रेडी हो जाता है। लेकिन जब आपका मान लो लिनक्स सर्वर रेडी तो हो गया, लेकिन अभी उसके ऊपर चाहिए था पाइथन, चाहिए था उस पर और भी कुछ सॉफ्टवेयर इंस्टॉल करना है। तो उसके लिए कैसे करेंगे? अब थाउजेंड्स ऑफ वर्चुअल मशीन है, अगर उसको एक एक करके करने जाएंगे तो फिर बहुत टाइम लगेगा। तो उसके लिए आता है एनसिबल। क्लाउड प्लस टेराफॉर्म प्लस एनसिबल, ये हो गया पूरा ऑपरेशन स्टैक। अगर ये 3 चीजें आती हैं तो यू विल बी अ गुड प्लेटफॉर्म इंजीनियर, ऑपरेशन इंजीनियर। उसके बाद आप डिप्लॉय करते हो जब सर्वर्स को, पीएम बना रहे हो, या AWS के टर्म में बोले तो EC2 इंस्टेंस बना रहे हो, या अज्योर के टर्म में कहें तो वर्चुअल मशीन बना रहे हो, सेम चीज़ ये वर्चुअल मशीन और VM, वहाँ पे अज्योर VM बोलते हैं उसको, अज्योर VM। और गूगल के टर्म में बोलते हैं कंप्यूट इंस्टेंस। टर्मिनोलॉजी अलग अलग है, बट बेसिकली है सब सर्वर ही। और जब सर्वर बोलते हैं तो मैं तो लेमैन लैंग्वेज में बोलूंगा, एक लैपटॉप समझ लो। एक लैपटॉप है, उसके अंदर कोई एक OS होगा, उस OS के ऊपर आप तरह तरह की चीज़ें इंस्टॉल करोगे। जैसे मेरा लैपटॉप है, मैंने इस पे गिट इंस्टॉल किया, डॉकर इंस्टॉल किया, मैं अपने सिस्टम पे जेनकिंस भी इंस्टॉल कर सकता हूँ। मैं जो भी यूज़ करूँगा उस वो एप्लीकेशन इंस्टॉल कर सकता हूँ। अब वही क्या होता है, कंपनियां क्या करती है, हर एक एप्लीकेशन के लिए एक एक सर्वर बना के रख देती है। सर्वर मतलब कंप्यूट इंस्टेंस, या EC2 या अज्योर VM। एक डब्बा बनाया, उस पर जेनकिंस डाल दिया और बोल दिया ये जेनकिंस सर्वर है। ठीक है। अब मैं एक और सर्वर बनाऊंगा, कंप्यूट इंजन, कंप्यूट इंस्टेंस, उस पे मैं इंस्टॉल कर दूंगा प्रोमीथियस, और फिर मैं इसको बोलूंगा कि ये मेरा प्रोमीथियस सर्वर है। फिर मैं एक डब्बा बनाऊंगा, उस पे मैं ग्राफाना डाल दूंगा और उसको बोल दूंगा ये मैं ग्राफाना सर्वर है। और हर सर्वर का एक एक IP हो सकता है, क्योंकि मुझे जेनकिंस एक्सेस करना है तो मैं उसका यहाँ पे IP डालूंगा ब्राउजर में, और फिर मैं जेनकिंस एक्सेस कर लूंगा। फिर मुझे प्रोमीथियस एक्सेस करना है तो उसका IP डालूंगा, उसके पोर्ट डालूंगा, प्रोमीथियस खुल जाएगा। ग्राफाना एक्सेस करना है तो ग्राफाना का IP डालूंगा, उसके पोर्ट डालूंगा, ग्राफाना खुल जाएगा। तो इस तरह से मेरे बहुत सारे सर्वर्स हो सकते हैं जो हम लोग यूज करेंगे। अब कुछ ऐसे सर्वर्स होंगे जिसपे कोई एप्लीकेशन रन हो रहा है, सपोज माइक्रो सर्विसेज रन हो रही हैं। माइक्रो सर्विसेज क्या होती हैं, पहले ये जान लेते हैं। माइक्रो सर्विसेज, ठीक है। पहले क्या होता था कि डेवलपर्स ने लिखा कोड जावा का कोड लिखा और एक कंप्लीट बड़ा सा एप्लीकेशन बना दिया। एप्लीकेशन, अब उस एप्लीकेशन को हम लोग बोल सकते हैं मोनोलिथिक एप्लीकेशन। मोनोलिथिक मतलब एक बड़ा एप्लीकेशन है। अब जावा वालों ने बोला कि हम छोटा छोटा बनाएंगे नहीं एप्लीकेशन, हम सीधा एक बड़ा सा बना देते हैं। अब सपोज मैंने महिंद्रा का ही एग्जांपल दिया था, महिंद्रा। अब ये एक महिंद्रा वेबसाइट है, ठीक है। अब इसमें देखो, ये मेन सेक्शन, वुमेन सेक्शन, इतने सारे सेक्शंस बना के रखे हैं, फिर पेमेंट गेटवे है, फिर बैग है, ये सब कुछ है। अब कंप्लीट सब पूरा सब कुछ मिला दो तो एक महिंद्रा कहलाता है, राइट। और महिंद्रा के अंदर छोटे छोटे पार्ट्स बनाए हुए हैं कि मेन सेक्शन है शर्ट का, कपड़े का, बॉटम वेयर, फुटवेयर, इतने इतने सेक्शन बनाए हुए हैं। फिर इसमें ऑपरेट ये सब ऑफर्स वगैरह देते हैं, ये यहाँ पे क्लिक करो तो ये खुलता है, यहाँ पे क्लिक करो तो ये खुलता है। जैसे मैं सपोज मेन सेक्शन में जाऊंगा तो यहाँ पे देखो आप, ये जो URL है इसके आगे shop/मेन मेन जुड़ गया, राइट। तो ये मुझे कहीं और लेके जा रहा है, मेन वाले पेज पे लेके जा रहा है। तो ये छोटी छोटी माइक्रो सर्विसेज हैं जो सब मिलके एक Myntra बनी है। और पहले क्या होता था कि बड़े एप्लीकेशन बनाए, उसको मैनेज करना बहुत मुश्किल होता था। एप्लीकेशन डाउन हुआ तो पूरा ही एप्लीकेशन डाउन हो गया। तो उसको उससे बचने के लिए कि पूरा एप्लीकेशन डाउन हो रहा है, क्यों ना उसको छोटे छोटे हिस्सों में तोड़ दिया जाए, छोटा छोटा माइक्रो सर्विसेज बना के, और फिर उसको डिप्लॉय किया जाए। तो क्या होगा, सपोज एक माइक्रो सर्विसेज डाउन है तो सपोज एक सेक्शन काम नहीं कर रहा, सपोज विश लिस्ट नहीं खुल रहा, फिर या फिर मेन सेक्शन जो है वो नहीं खुल रहा, ये हो सकता है राइट, एक चीज डाउन हुई तो उस पर काम कर सकती है टीम। तो इसीलिए माइक्रो सर्विसेज का कॉन्सेप्ट आया। अब ये माइक्रो सर्विसेज जो है उसको भी रन होने के लिए तो सर्वर चाहिए, तो इन उसको रन करने के लिए आया क्यूबरनेटीज एंड डॉकर, दोनों मिलके ये हेल्प करता है एप्लीकेशन को रन करने में। डॉकर और क्यूबरनेटीज। अच्छा, अब ये एप्लीकेशन डिप्लॉय तो हो गया, लेकिन अब एप्लीकेशन कभी कभी डाउन हो जाता है, कभी सीपीयू खत्म हो गया, कभी मेमोरी चला गया, तो कभी कभी इश्यूज आते रहते हैं एप्लीकेशन में, पॉड डाउन हो गया, तो उसको उसको मॉनिटर करना ज़रूरी है कि अगर उसको मॉनिटर नहीं करेंगे कि सीपीयू यूटिलाइजेशन हाई चला गया और एप्लीकेशन डाउन हो गया, या मेमोरी कंज्यूम हो गया, मेमोरी मतलब रैम खत्म हो गया, फिर नेटवर्क लोड ज़्यादा है, राइट। कुछ लोग हैकर्स होते हैं जो वेबसाइट को डाउन करने का ट्राई करते हैं, वो उसका अलग ही कॉन्सेप्ट है कि कैसे वेबसाइट को हैकर्स लोग डाउन करने की ट्राई करते हैं। तो कंपनी को उससे बचने के लिए नेटवर्क सिक्योरिटी वगैरह का भी यूज़ करना पड़ता है। और प्लस कभी सेल आ जाता है सडनली, तो सेल आ जाता है तो सडनली लोड बहुत बढ़ जाता है वेबसाइट पर, वेबसाइट डाउन हो जाता है क्योंकि सब लोग एक साथ एक्सेस करने लगते हैं और वो लोड नहीं ले पाता है। तो उसके लिए मॉनिटरिंग बहुत ज़रूरी है। तो मॉनिटरिंग का जब बात आता है तब आता है प्रोमीथियस का रोल। प्रोमीथियस कंटिन्यूअसली मॉनिटर करता है, जो भी एप्लीकेशन है, जो भी इंफ्रा है, उसको मॉनिटर करता है, उसका अलर्ट भेजता है, और उस अलर्ट को एसआरई टीम एड्रेस करती है और उस इशू को फिक्स करती है। तो यहाँ तक कोई कंफ्यूजन है? जितनी बातें मैंने बताई, कुछ ऐसा क्वेश्चन, कुछ क्वेरी, कुछ ऐसा लग रहा हो कि ये मेरे से समझ नहीं आ रहा मुझे इस बारे में?
No, Chandan, it was nicely explained.
So, Chandan, Prometheus and Grafana, right? So,
हम्म
how these two technologies are connected?
हाँ, तो मैं बताता हूँ व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन ग्राफाना एंड प्रोमीथियस। प्रोमीथियस कलेक्ट्स द डेटा, इट इज नॉट गोइंग टू डिस्प्ले द डेटा। लाइक कोई भी, वी आर मॉनिटरिंग अ सर्वर, राइट। तो सपोज गूगल क्लाउड पे वीएम इंस्टेंस बनाया, तो वीएम इंस्टेंस यूटिलाइजेशन इज गोइंग हाई, like many applications are running and CPU consumption is going beyond 80%. But Prometheus as an agent will run on the VM. Okay, it is called a node exporter. So it will run on the virtual machine and it will collect the data, how much CPU utilization for this many hours. Every second it will, or in interval, it will collect the data from the server. And then that data is collected and that data is displayed in Grafana. Like Grafana, when we will install Grafana, so we can use the data collected from Prometheus, right? Yeah. So
It's a
Prometheus was
data source you are saying, or data sets.
the data, it is collecting the metrics. When
Okay.
I say metrics is everything: network, CPU, memory, everything, storage consumption, everything comes under metrics. So this metrics is collected by Prometheus, but this metrics is not going to display things, right? So you have to some dashboard you want where you can see the real time use, like how much CPU utilization graphs will be available. So for that, Grafana is coming into the picture. That
Mm-hmm.
you want to display whatever data it is collecting, and you want to show it up to public. As as a SRE, we have to check on Grafana dashboard we will create, and we will see, okay, CPU utilization is this much for this particular server, or that particular storage is this much utilization, or this Kubernetes cluster has utilization up to this much. So all these alerts and data will come up here in dashboard. So these two are working in combinations. Or what happens, even cloud provides monitoring solutions. If you don't want to use Prometheus Grafana, many companies says, I don't want to use Prometheus Grafana, this is not suitable for my environment. So they will use ELK, Elastic Log Kibana, Elasticsearch, Elasticsearch, Logstash, and Kibana dashboard. So like Grafana, there is a Kibana dashboard. So there are many softwares available in market. If you don't want to use open source, then you can go for cloud. So in Google, we have called Observability. So what it does, it collects, it gives everything. Like it, one section it will give monitoring. Okay, you will create policies, and you'll configure that, attach the policies to the servers, and then you will monitor continuous data on the virtual machine and all the resources. Then alerting that you want pager duty or X matter alerts, or you want an email alert. If something goes down, immediately an email will trigger to your email box, or you will get a SMS on your mobile, kind of alerting things. And then logging is important because whatever is happening in your environment, you want to have the proof, like who did what. Suppose somebody deleted some virtual machine, but you have, if you have logs, you can identify what happened, who did what. So logging is very important. Monitoring is also important. Alerting is also important, and also the display of the data, which is Grafana is doing, right? So all these things are coming. Plus, there are other things also for developers tool, but these things are important uh, in the SRE perspective, like monitoring, alerting, and logging. But interviewers comes last for Prometheus and Grafana. Before coming to Prometheus Grafana, they will ask you all these things which we were discussing earlier. So initially, when you will write this Terraform configuration files and Ansible things, you will be like, you'll get scared or intimidated, like डर लगेगा, अरे टेराफॉर्म का कोड है, एनसिबल का कोड है, ये तो बहुत डिफिकल्ट होता होगा लिखने में. बट नो नीड टू वरी, अब हम लोग एआई के ज़माने में हैं. तो अगर आप इसमें जाओगे, को पायलट को बोलोगे आई नीड टेराफॉर्म कोड फॉर EC2 इंस्टेंस इन AWS, अभी देखो ये क्विकली रेडी कर देगा कोड. बट यू विल हैव टू हैव द अंडरस्टैंडिंग कि कोड लिखते कैसे हैं, उसका सिंटेक्स कैसा होता है, क्या होता है, उसका मतलब क्या है. उसके लिए भी हम लोग जाएंगे डिटेल में. अभी मैं जस्ट दिखा रहा हूँ कि ये कैसे एआई कैसे हमें हेल्प करता है. कोपायलट हर चीज़ लिख देगा. एनसिबल प्ले बुक बोलूँ तो वो लिख देगा. तो देखो, जब फर्स्ट टाइम आप देखोगे ये कोड, टेराफॉर्म का कोड, तो आप बोलोगे ये क्या लिखा है, कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा है. बट एक एक करके लाइन बाय लाइन अगर आप ध्यान से देखोगे, तो ये टेराफॉर्म पहला एक सेक्शन है जहाँ पे वो AWS को कॉल कर रहा है, राइट. उसके बाद AWS बता रहा है कि किस रीजन में उसको डिप्लॉय करना है, EC2. यहाँ पे आप डिसाइड करते हो कि US ईस्ट 1 में करना है, US ईस्ट 2 में करना है, यूरोप ईस्ट में करना है, जहाँ भी करना है. फिर सिक्योरिटी ग्रुप का कॉन्सेप्ट आता है. सिक्योरिटी ग्रुप जो होता है फायरवॉल जिसको बोलते हैं हम लोग अदर टर्म में. तो फायरवॉल क्रिएट करते हैं जहाँ पे हम लोग पोर्ट ओपन करते हैं. SSH कौन सा प्रोटोकॉल होगा, अगर हमने पोर्ट ओपन नहीं किया है, SSH पोर्ट या जो भी, तो एक्सेस नहीं होगा वो सर्वर. फिर इनग्रेस ईग्रेस पोर्ट, ये सब चीज़ें जो रिक्वायर्ड है. अब EC2 इंस्टेंस क्रिएट करना है, तो इसका जो फॉर्मेशन है कोड का इस तरह से होता है. रिसोर्स AWS इंस्टेंस, और उस AWS इंस्टेंस को हम कुछ भी बोल सकते हैं. वेब बोल सकते हैं, डेटाबेस बोल सकते हैं, ऐप बोल सकते हैं, एप्लीकेशन बोल सकते हैं, कुछ भी जो भी हम बना रहे हैं. सपोज हम मॉनिटरिंग के इसके लिए बना रहे हैं, सपोज प्रोमीथियस के लिए सर EC2 इंस्टेंस बना रहे हैं, तो हम यहाँ पे प्रोमीथियस लिख देंगे, राइट. फिर उसका AMI क्या होता है, मशीन इमेज क्या होता है? जैसे हमें लिनक्स इंस्टॉल करना है, तो लिनक्स के लिए पहले हम क्या करते थे, रेड हैट का सीडी लाते थे, उसको डालते थे, फिर इंस्टॉल करते थे। बाद में हम पेन ड्राइव में ओएस लेके आते थे, उसको बूट करते थे, फिर ओएस इंस्टॉल करते थे। तो वैसे ही ये अमेजॉन लिनक्स टू एक ओएस दे रहा है। ये मशीन इमेज यूज किया तो ये मिलेगा उसके अंदर, ये ओएस आ जाएगा उसके अंदर। फिर इंस्टेंस टाइप, मतलब कितना बड़ा सर्वर चाहिए, T2 माइक्रो चाहिए, टी टू लार्ज चाहिए। लार्ज सर्वर होगा तो उसमें सीपीयू मेमोरी ज़्यादा होगा, उसका कॉस्ट ज़्यादा होगा। तो सस्ता वर्च सर्वर चाहिए कि महंगा सर्वर चाहिए? हो सकता है कि सीपीयू की जगह जीपीयू चाहिए तो और महंगा हो जाएगा। मेमोरी कैसी चाहिए, एसएसडी चाहिए, सॉरी DDR2 DDR3, ये सब तो हमारे लैपटॉप में लगता है, लेकिन सर्वर में तो मल्टीफोल्ड मेमोरी हो सकता है, टेराबाइट में भी मेमोरी हो सकता है, राइट? जैसे मेरे लैपटॉप में 8 GB का रैम लगा हुआ है, तो मतलब 8 GB मेमोरी है। तो इंस्टेंस टाइप पे ये डिपेंड करता है कि कौन सा मशीन हम यूज़ करने वाले हैं। कल मैंने देखा कि मेरे टीम में एक लड़का है, तो उसको लेनेवो का P1 लैपटॉप मिला है। तो मैंने उसका प्राइस चेक किया, तो ऑनलाइन उसका प्राइस लिखा था 9 लाख रुपए, और 52% डिस्काउंट के बाद वो 4.5 लाख का मिल रहा था। तो क्यों महंगा है वो लैपटॉप? क्योंकि उसके अंदर सीपीयू, मेमोरी और जो एसएसडी यूज़ किया है, 1 TB का एसएसडी यूज़ किया है, तो इस वजह से वो महंगा हो गया। तो वैसे ही सर्वर्स का भी प्राइसिंग होता है। अगर T2 माइक्रो यूज़ कर रहे हो, कम सीपीयू मेमोरी है, तो कम कॉस्ट पड़ेगा। जितना बड़ा साइज यूज़ करोगे उतना महंगा पड़ेगा। आर यू गेटिंग माई पॉइंट? मतलब मैं लेमैन लैंग्वेज में समझाने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ कि EC2 इंस्टेंस का क्या 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 चीज़ होता है।
So Chandan, so by default, this would be the format, right? When we make this
क्रिएट,
create
करेक्ट,
this, right?
हाँ,
Only we need to make changes against this wherever
यस,
it's required कि कितना क्या use करना है.
हाँ। तो जब स्टार्ट करोगे तो फिर जब कोड लिखोगे तो थोड़ा सा मेसी होगा कोड, राइट? बट
हम्म
उसको धीरे धीरे रिफाइन करना है, मतलब ऑप्टिमाइज करते चलना है। जितना
हम्म
कोड जितना सुंदर दिखे, मतलब क्या होता है कि रिपीटेबल ज्यादा नहीं होना चाहिए लाइंस। जैसे
हम्म
जावा डेवलपमेंट में भी यही सिखाया जाता है कि आप जावा डेवलप कर रहे हो, पाइथन कोड लिख रहे हो, तो बार बार एक ही चीज रिपीट नहीं करनी। अभी जब सपोज मैंने एक EC2 इंस्टेंस बनाया, तो मैंने ऐसे लिख दिया कोड। अगर मुझे 100 बनाने हैं, तो क्या मैं ऐसे करके 100 बार लिखूंगा? ऐसे करके नहीं। तो ये तरीका जो है और धीरे धीरे इन्हांस होता जाएगा। ये तो सबसे बेसिक एक एग्जांपल है कि किसी ने बोला कि भाई मेरे लिए एक EC2 सर्वर बना दो, और तुम क्या करना, उसको अब क्लिक करके कंसोल से नहीं बनाना है, थ्रू स्क्रिप्ट बनाना है। तो ये टेराफॉर्म स्क्रिप्ट लिख दोगे। अच्छा, अब ये EC2 इंस्टेंस बन गया। अब मुझे इस पे पाइथन इंस्टॉल करना है, तो पाइथन इंस्टॉल करने के लिए मैं बोलूंगा कि मुझे एक एनसिबल प्लेबुक दो फॉर पाइथन इंस्टॉलेशन। ठीक है। अभी मैं वट एवर आई एम डिस्कसिंग हियर इज जस्ट अ होलिस्टिक व्यू, आई एम नॉट गोइंग डीप इनटू एनीथिंग, so we'll go gradually, we'll move into. So this is how Ansible playbook looks like. It's a YAML format, okay? And this Terraform is HashiCorp language. Like HashiCorp was a company which developed this Terraform thing, but recently IBM has acquired that HashiCorp. तो वो उसका फॉर्मेशन था, उसको बोलते हैं HCL लैंग्वेज, HashiCorp लैंग्वेज। और ये जो एनसिबल है, ये YAML में लिखा जाता है, राइट? तो ऐसा होता है यामल का फॉर्मेशन कि 3 लाइन डॉट यहाँ पे लिखा, फिर एक डैश लिखा, फिर नेम दिया कि क्या करना है, होस्ट किस किस पे सर्वर पे करना है। जैसे मेरा ये सर्वर बनाया मैंने EC2, इसकी एक आईपी होगी। जब ये सर्वर क्रिएट हो जाएगा तो इसकी एक पब्लिक आईपी होगी, प्राइवेट आईपी होगी। तो उस आईपी को यूज करेंगे हम, और वी विल इंस्टॉल किस होस्ट पे करना है, इस ऑल की जगह हम एक इन्वेंट्री फाइल बनाएंगे और उसमें उसका आईपी डाल देंगे। और जितने भी सर्वर, सपोज एक सर्वर की जगह 100 है, इफ वी हैव टू इंस्टॉल ऑन 100, तो वी विल क्रिएट अ लिस्ट ऑफ होस्ट लिस्ट, एंड विल पुट ऑल द आईपीज एंड यूजर नेम एंड पासवर्ड, एंड देन दिस particular YAML will trigger when we will run this command using this playbook. So what it will do, it will go first update the package manager. सपोज अगर उबुंटू है, जैसे तुमने बोला उबुंटू, तो उबुंटू का पैकेज मैनेजर होता है एप्ट। अगर सेंटोस या रेड हैट है तो उसका होता है यम, यम और डीएनएफ। तो यहाँ पे उबुंटू है तो एप्ट, एप्ट मॉड्यूल यूज हो रहा है। एप्ट क्या करता है, सारा रिपोजिटरी डाउनलोड कर ले, जैसे अपना कैसे प्लेबुक होता है, सॉरी प्ले स्टोर होता है मोबाइल में, राइट। हमें कोई गेम इंस्टॉल करना है या कोई एप्लीकेशन होता है तो हम क्या करते हैं, तो प्ले स्टोर में जाते हैं, वहां से इंस्टॉल कर लेते हैं। तो उसी तरह एप्ट जो है वो एक पैकेज मैनेजर है लिनक्स का। वो क्या करता है, जो भी सॉफ्टवेयर चाहिए वो ला के देता है। तो मुझे पाइथन चाहिए, तो उसने क्या किया, इंस्टॉल पाइथन 3, एप्ट यूज किया, क्या क्या ला के दे रहा है, पाइथन 3, पाइथन 3 पिप, बीएनबी, डेव, सब ला के दे रहा है। और वो मेरे इस पे इंस्टॉल कर देगा इस सर्वर पे, और मेक श्योर करेगा कि ये इंस्टॉल कर सकते हैं। अब ये क्वेश्चन आया कि क्या ये टेराफॉर्म कर सकता था ये काम, मेरा ये इंस्टॉलेशन का काम। कर सकता है। इनफैक्ट एंसिबल प्लेबुक यूज करके भी हम वर्चुअल मशीन बना सकते हैं, बट इंडस्ट्री में इसको रखा गया है कॉन्फ़िगरेशन एज कोड। आई मीन, लेट मी राइट इट। टेराफॉर्म infrastructure as code. Reduce the size to small, medium. एक काम करते हैं, हम टेराफॉर्म की वेबसाइट पे चलते हैं। टेराफॉर्म रजिस्ट्री, टेराफॉर्म की एक रजिस्ट्री है जहाँ पर ये सारे कोड्स अवेलेबल हैं। ये बताते हैं कि आपको विच फॉर विच क्लाउड यू वांट। एंड टेराफॉर्म इज क्लाउड एग्नोस्टिक, दैट मीन्स इट इज सपोर्टिंग मल्टीपल क्लाउड्स। टेराफॉर्म कैन बी यूज फॉर Azure, Google और AWS. Only thing is the syntax will change. Like I am using for Google Cloud in my company. So if you see browse providers, so see AWS supported, Azure supported, Google Cloud supported, Kubernetes supported, Alibaba Cloud supported, Oracle supported. So these are the things Terraform supports. So suppose in your environment you are using Azure Cloud, so you will use HashiCorp Azure modules, and then code will be almost similar like what we have seen here. Here we seen for EC2 instance for AWS, right? So code, when we write the code, it will be almost similar. Few things will change, like after resource, Google Compute Engine will come here, and then name. Here AWS Security Group is coming. There something else will come. So so whichever cloud you are using, you have to mention here in required providers. AWS, you when you provide, so it will download modules for AWS. And when you are using Azure, so Azure thing will come. So you can go to documentation page here. So these are the services which Azure provides, right? So suppose uh, see compute. Compute means you're going to create a virtual machine. So this is how the Terraform code will look like. In interviews, some interviewer may ask you, write a simple Terraform code and show me how will you create a virtual machine. So you have to mug up few codes, but if interviewer is a nice person, he won't ask you to write or show you your memory skills. Better you can tell them, I am writing code and I'm referring this website, Terraform registry. I'm going from picking up the code from there and I'm utilizing that code. So no need to panic when they ask you to write a code. And in the era of AI, you don't have to panic at all because codes can be written using Copilot, but you should have understanding what this code will do. That is very important, right? So I hope you guys are not tired enough by listening to me continuously.
No, no, no.
So what do you suggest? Like as per your, uh, wish, I will plan accordingly. Like what are the things you have to learn first, and what are the things you have to later on. If you want to start from operation side, like you want to learn cloud first, right? And Terraform and Ansible first. These three things, if you complete, so you will be operation ready, right? And if we continue with what we were doing, like Git, Docker, Kubernetes, so you will be ready for developers help. Like developers will help need your help in doing this, writing Docker file. Let me show you a simple Docker file I have shown you in last class, I remember. But yeah, so what are the things in interview they ask you? They uh, they ask you write Terraform code, then they will come and ask write Ansible playbook. Like one of the guy in my team, he is working on an Ansible playbook where automatically credential rotation will happen. So he is writing an Ansible playbook and then running the Ansible for credential rotations. Then they may ask you to write Docker file and create image of using that. This thing can happen, right? Then they may ask you write a Jenkins file. A Jenkins file is a kind of stages where you define stages and then your pipeline runs. I'll show you example of Jenkins file also. So Copilot basically it is using the agents. So you may have uh, different agents in use, like it can be Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude. So it fetches that information from there and it gives us. So likewise, VS Code, we have some other editors also, like you can say Cursor and all. So yeah, so Jenkins file looks like this. This is a pattern to write Jenkins file where you define stages. First it says checkout. Checkout means it will go to GitHub and it will check what are the codes available there. Like in our GitHub, that day we have created one GitHub repository and I've given it a name training day 2, right? So if I have a Docker file here, suppose I create a Docker file here and I give it a name like Docker file. discuss first Jenkins file. So this is the Jenkins file. Are you able to see my screen? Hello, are you able to hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, so this is Jenkins file where we are specifying the stages. So let me copy this and better I'll create one Jenkins file. It's a little bit slow. Maybe my Docker is running in this environment, so it can slow down my system sometime. While it's creating Jenkins file, let me go back to here. Yeah, so Jenkins file is one of the things. So similarly, lot of tasks will come. It depends what is expectation from your manager or your team. What are the things you have to do? It may happen like they will not ask you to write Docker file. Maybe developers are doing that, and you are just deploying, helping them to deploy this. And these things you have to do as a SRE or DevOps or platform engineer. Terraform, Ansible, these things will be your responsibility. Jenkins file will be your responsibility. So when I said ki I have started with Git Docker, so I'll tell you this is my developer who is developing applications, and this is my operation team. So when we are starting from Git Docker side, we are approaching towards developer side. Like when you are doing Git, Docker, and Kubernetes, so you are directly interacting with developers and helping them to deploy their application. But when you are starting from Terraform, Ansible, and cloud, so in that case, you are approaching from operation side. You are first creating the infrastructure. You are creating the cloud infrastructure, creating virtual machines, network, and all for them, so that their application can run. So not just virtual machine. You have to create a lot of things. When you come to cloud, you have to create network, which we call VPC. Then you have to create database for them, database servers, maybe MySQL plus or maybe Postgres. There can be different types of databases. Then you have to attach storage to your uh, servers so that you can utilize the space, right? Then you have to create Kubernetes cluster in the cloud where your microservices will run. That day when we were running this Docker containers, right? This is nothing but microservices, small size applications. Like one is MyNginx, which is a web service. HTTP is also a web service. Ubuntu is a small Linux. CentOS is a small Linux size. If you see the sizes, 300 MB, 160 MB. So these kind of things you can deploy in Kubernetes cluster. As of now, since we have started Docker, so we started in our laptop. But in enterprise industry, like companies are big, so we have to deploy many things. So one small environment won't be sufficient. So in that case, you have to deploy microservices in Kubernetes cluster. So my plan was to start with Git, Docker, Kubernetes. Then we will come to Terraform, Ansible, Cloud, and then we will end with the CI/CD pipeline, the entire flow. So in the Jenkins file, if I copy paste this and I'll close this, let me show you the code just for a brief understanding what it is doing. So it starts with pipeline. It says agent in, like whatever it is going to perform task, there should be some agent to do it. When we say agent, again, agent can be a server, Linux machine. So on Linux machine, all these tasks will be performed. We will have to install Jenkins on each agent. How many agents we have? We have to install Jenkins on top of that. Then we have stages. In stages, we have multiple stage. Like one stage is this checkout, where it is going and checking GitHub codes. If it finds GitHub code, then it builds, then it tests, then it deploys. So it's a basic, very basic pipeline. But in real environment, in industry, it can be a bigger size because many steps will be there, like SAST scan, DAST scan, security scanning, code testing, code quality check. Many things will come in the stages. So this test stage, right here, software testing team help is required. Like your somebody Java developer has developed a code and he pushed the code to GitHub repository. My pipeline triggered and it is checking in the GitHub repository. Okay, what are the code changes are there? So that image, Java code, that will be built into something like jar file or something. Then if it's Node.js, so npm packages it will create and build. Then you have testing stage. Then when your application is ready, so what it will do, whatever container images what we were creating that day, so that container image creation will happen through this pipeline. You no need to create manually, like run docker build -t and all and create image. That would be automated. So this whole thing is getting it automated by Jenkins file. So, but yes, we need to understand how to write Docker file, how to create Docker images in local system. Because when you have that understanding, how it is happening, then only you can automate things, right? Suppose I ask you to write a script, shell script, like you have to create a VM uh, virtual machine using shell script. So what will you do? You will create a file called uh, vm.sh, and then in .sh file you will write the commands to create a virtual machine. We can create virtual machines or servers using commands also, right? So we can write that command in a script and then we can run the script and then it will create a virtual machine. So there are many ways to do the same task. Like one way I told you to use Terraform to do that. Same thing I can do using shell script also. Same thing it can be used by Ansible playbook also. So ultimately, as a DevOps, as a SRE, your role is to automate things. Whatever is happening in the environment, what are the requirements, and whatever work you are doing manually or where your human efforts are involved, you have to reduce that human effort. Then you are a real DevOps engineer. So, so yeah, that's all for today. So after this, I am planning accordingly, like we should proceed for this uh, role, right? How you have to learn slowly, gradually, bit by bit. You have to accumulate the knowledge, and you have to do this task. If you demonstrate, I mean, if you do this in labs, then you will be able to perform it in real world as well. Real world may be a little different because there will be many processes to follow. Jira ticket and this and that, change process you have to follow for deployments in real world. You are already doing in your companies wherever you are working, and you have seen all those things. But yes, whatever we are going in doing in our laptop, the same kind of job you have to do it there. And if you can do the simple things, you can do bigger things as well. So over the time, when you keep on writing Terraform codes and all, so I'll give you homework also, so that you can find from Google or somewhere, from or take a help of Copilot and write a code and show me what you have written and what you have understood. So gradually your knowledge base will increase, and then you will have a holistic view. Like cloud you will understand, then you will learn to deploy resources, then we will perform multiple labs. So before completing labs, every day I have a plan to, I mean, not every day, whenever we will have a class, I will explain you theoretical part, and then I will half part I will demonstrate. Sometimes this class becomes lengthy, like 2 hours is too much for sometimes, but yeah, we have to spend this too much, I mean 2 hours of attention span you have to keep, because if you lack attention span, then maybe this course will get delayed further. So do you have any question for me, Vaisali or Junaid?
No, no, Chandan. So basically, we are going with the same plan, right? As we were doing. With the Docker part, we will be proceeding.
Yes, but sometimes like maybe new joiners will also join with
Mhm.
you,
Sure.
right? In that case, we will have to take them also along with us.
Yeah, yeah,
So accordingly, we will plan. So my plan is like slowly. In the beginning, we will go slow for Docker, Kubernetes. Will take time, because
yeah.
these two topics are very important. You are also aware like Kubernetes is a very important topic. And along with Kubernetes, I will show you cloud as well. What we will do, we will create our Google Cloud account or AWS account, whichever cloud you want to use, and we will create Kubernetes cluster on top of cloud, and then we will use that cluster for our learning. So you will have a real environment feeling, real infrastructure feeling, like in your AWS environment or Azure environment. So all these clouds provides you Kubernetes cluster service. So you can leverage that and practice on top of that. But yes, that will be valid for 3 months, I think, or 1 month. So no need to hurry for account creation. I'll tell you when to create account, because it requires a credit card detail. It will not deduct anything. It will give you $300 something for cloud uses. So you can use that uh, credit for the practice purpose. So what I'll do, I'll create one account. I'll demonstrate. Then when you're comfortable, then you create your account and then you start practicing.
Sure.
So this way you will learn cloud services, then Terraform Ansible we will complete along with that. But before that, I wanted to explain you guys that development side, like how developers write code and how those codes are converted into Docker images, and that Docker image is finally getting deployed into the Kubernetes cluster. So I would like your feedbacks also. How did you like this session or not? Because sometimes in some sessions I get stuck, or sometimes I'm slow. But your feedback will help me improve my approach and way of conveying things. Sometimes you will see that this is very basic thing. This is all I already know. But yes, the brick by brick, if we build something, then it will we will reach to the destination.
Sure. Actually, Chandan, I want from the basic only, means for the many things I don't know, like Kubernetes, Docker. So I want to learn from the
Yes,
basics.
because I have sometime impression like you are already working. I have already worked in a corporate environment, IT environment. You already have experience. So maybe sometimes some things you will feel like it's very basic. So if we go with the basic, and when we evolve slowly, then it will be better for long term learning, because it's not going to end here. Like DevOps is going to finish soon or something like that, because DevOps will remain ahead also in the future. As I said in the beginning, they are hiring DevOps guys for MLOps work also. So along with DevOps, if you learn this thing, machine learning part little bit, so you can be a useful MLOps resource also, and they are paying very high for MLOps resources. But yes, Python is a must for learning MLOps side. But
Yep.
there also they need Docker, Kubernetes, Jenkins, or any CI/CD tool. They need, this is a must. Even Terraform also they need, because model deployment is also happening in cloud, or maybe even if they use on-prem infra, they will have to use Terraform for provisioning configurations. And Linux is a must. Linux, Python, these things are, as you already working on shell scripts and all, you are familiar with Linux, so that won't be a challenge for you.
Yep.
And Junaid is also already working with the DevOps guys, so he is familiar with what all is happening. But it's just that he wants to do it himself, so that's why he's here to learn those things, right, Junaid?
Yeah, Chandan.
So what are the things you find difficult when you are working and when you see the other guys? One thing you said Kubernetes, which you don't understand, right? How they write the YAML files.
Yes.
The thing is, when this whole process started, they started with A, B, C, D, like that. Like, so A after A, B came, B after C came. So when we started Docker, right, we are running Docker run, Docker this, Docker this command. But gradually, when you go from Docker to Kubernetes, so Kubernetes you don't have to do that much work. And then the YAML file which you are scared of, that YAML file also can be written using Helm chart. Helm is a tool, it's kind of package manager for Kubernetes. So it comes with a whole package like deployment.yaml, service.yaml, service config management.yaml, ck.yaml. Everything comes in the package. You just have to edit as per your requirement. I mean, little bit of customization, and then Helm chart directly you can deploy. Even Helm chart you don't have to write, but because the template would be there and everything will be updated, and then Argo CD will come and it will deploy it. You don't have to do it. I mean, everything is automated. It's just that you have to understand how this automation works.
Yes, Chandan.
Okay, so I have taken around 1 hour and 56 minutes of yours. So yeah, we'll meet tomorrow. We'll continue our session. So Roshan, do you have any feedback?
No, Chandan, it's quite informative, and lot of things has been clarified. So now I understand how the technology stack and how it's working actually, and how we can utilize these learning in our day-to-day projects activities. So it's quite informative, and lot of things has been clarified in this today's session.
Okay, thanks for your feedback.
Actually, it should be the first session, but yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And now, from now onwards, we will continue in this way only. We will discuss the concept part as well. I
Mhm.
initially I thought demonstration will help you understand things because all we are already working in environment. So I thought all are familiar with this. That's why I started with demonstration. But I believe before demonstration, theory part is equally important.
Yeah, yeah. Because we are starting from the basics, right? So we just new with all these technologies. So
Yes,
basic is also important for us to learn.
yes,
Equally, at the same time, the hands-on experience is also going to add much and more values. So
yes.
yeah, slowly we'll go with the sessions, and we will be much more comfortable as we are now. We are
Yeah.
not now. Yeah.
So when we do real hands-on work, so challenges will come. Like Vaisali in the beginning, she said she is facing challenges in installing Docker desktop, right? So these are the blockers which will come and this will teach you, like, okay, this is not happening, so this is how you have to resolve this issue. So hopefully Vaishali will install Docker desktop without any challenges. If not, let me know, I'll help you to download using it. Maybe on Teams. If we come Teams, I can take control of your laptop also. Here in Google, I think Google Meet we don't have control to take.
Sure, I'll try with Teams.
So
It's
this
not.
is just these kind of blockers will come in your day-to-day activities also. Like when you are trying to install something, it's not happening, then you have to find out some solution, and then you can take help of ChatGPT, Copilot. It will guide you for everything. So basically, we are using Windows laptop, so some challenges will be there, but like many applications supports Windows, and you have to customize according to Windows. We can install Docker desktop on Linux also, but then you will have to create a Linux machine. Many companies are giving free clouds also, just like DigitalOcean or Linode. There you can create your own virtual machine, spin up a virtual machine, and then you can install your Docker desktop there, and then you can practice over there. Anyways, we will further discuss all these things and maybe in coming key classes. So thanks for joining all. Let's connect tomorrow.
Sure.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Chandan.
Chandan. Yeah, bye.
Thanks.